These movies are a form of social commentary and not in any way meant to put down the ideas and ideals of any political or gender identity. You are all fair game in the eyes of the wicked, and we see you.
The world is like a ride at an amusement park, and when you choose to go on it, you think it's real, because that's how powerful our minds are. And the ride goes up and down and round and round. It has thrills and chills, and it's very brightly colored, and it's very loud, and it's fun for a while. Some people have been on the ride for a long time, and they begin to question, is this real, or is this just a ride? And other people have remembered, and they come back to us, they say, hey, don't worry, don't be afraid, ever, because this is just a ride.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest. Have a look at, see that chap over there? Take your hand off my penis!
The Deputy Secretary, the Deputy Secretary, Deputy Secretary.
This guy is fucking stupid!
Stay cheesy. There we go. How's it going, my beautiful starflies? It's really not the same without my little kids. All right, that's better. All right, so welcome to a new episode of Useless Agent. This is your safe space from the idiotic morons on the left and the right. This is a safe space for assholes. Really, it's just a safe space to be intelligent and not have to really worry about bending a knee to anybody. We don't do that here. So, what's going on in the news today? Today's, let's see. We had Memorial or Veterans Day weekend, and so it was really sad because for Memorial Day or Veterans Day, or Remembrance Day, whatever you want to call it, we really wanted to do something for the victims of the USS Liberty, knowing that there's so many, not so many, but there's still a few guys that are still around, still alive, and still remember that day like it was yesterday. So I felt like I owed it to them to do that episode, and I couldn't believe all the hate that I actually managed to get for doing that episode. Now, whether or not you are familiar with the USS Liberty is kind of irrelevant. It's the fact that people are literally trying to say this didn't happen when, yes, it did. We have hundreds of soldiers that were killed, shot by Israeli forces that were literally waving to us a second before that. And the more I listen to the stories, the more sad it gets because apparently they assumed they were being shot at by some sort of Arab nation, but the only plane that was there was an Israeli plane. And when someone waves to you, you're going to be caught off guard. You think that's your friend, and Israel's supposed to be our main ally. And instead, these guys were slaughtered while sunbathing on a ship that was not a vessel of war. It was not a warship. It was not a battleship. It didn't have tons of guns or anything like that. It was an intelligence ship. So it makes me wonder, well, what type of intelligence were they trying to block that we were discovering? It just never made any sense. And then when you had President Lyndon B. Johnson at the time, literally was quoted saying, I don't care if every son of a bitch dies on that fucking ship. I am not going to denounce our ally. And this is where I gain my perspective and my personal opinion towards the government, especially pieces of shit like Lyndon B. Johnson. a guy that was known to literally say, "Give me the seat, and I'll give you your damn war." And there's actually a conspiracy theory that I can't necessarily disprove right off the bat, but I just don't believe it. That apparently the driver of the Lincoln, after they had made the turn, had apparently shot him from behind. That didn't really make sense to me because you would have had tons of witnesses saying they heard a shot from the very car. So I don't believe in this. I think it's a very interesting conspiracy idea, but it's not a theory because it's not based on a series of tests. That's a hypothesis. So to just go off and say it was the driver, okay, well, you're going to have to zoom in. You're going to have to show me a lot of shit. And the beauty of comedy is it is literally the opposite. It's the lack thereof all these details that makes comedy comedy. It makes it funny. Okay. So I know it's a crazy segue, but the point of the episode is what the fuck happened to comedy? And the answer is politics. And so that's why I wanted to bring up Veterans Day leading into this because it is all kind of connected. They're all kind of linked. And comedy is supposed to be a reflection of the world around us. So if your comedy is not matching that and is not matching the attitude of the very people watching, we're not going to have a good time. So, with all these bad female comedians that are basically trying to throw sexism in your face, saying, "You guys don't like me because I'm a chick." I'm using mainly Amy Schumer right now. No, we don't like you because you're not funny. You're a single note joke. It's always about your cooter, and then you steal. And there is such a thing as parallel thinking. But when you straight up do a skit that is exactly the same as Mad TV's skit, that is called theft. And, whenever we artists come up with any idea, we immediately start searching around to make sure nobody has beaten us to it. I don't know if whoever's watching, I don't know if you are an artist, but I'm pretty sure you have the same worries. You want something original that speaks from you to people like you. So here's a woman that literally tried to be a man because she must have saw that episode of Velma, which is already a bad start. And so in an episode of Velma, she dresses up like a man and all of a sudden she gets everything she ever wanted and people think she's awesome and all this bullshit. Which literally contradicted the whole show because the whole point was originally she was saying that only white men will get these kind of privileges. So when she goes off dressing like a man, she still looks Middle Eastern. So the fact that she was just given an award and all this bullshit happened, then now you're just saying that it has nothing to do with race, it has everything to do with sex. You see how inconsistent that is? Comedy relies on consistency. That's why we have the rule of three. If you can keep it consistent, people will laugh. So let's look at this female comedian dressed like a man and let her learn the hard way that our job does not depend on if we have a dick or not. It depends if we are actually funny. And I love the way this crowd treats her because not only are they actually being very respecting and very respectable people, because I would have yelled out, "You fucking suck," but you can tell these people either knew that this is obviously a chick, like I would because of her voice, but also look how nice these people are, showing that people are basically kind and didn't want to watch you fail, but you did all that on your own. Maybe try a 15-minute set with actual jokes.
Buy any, I would never buy any product that had been tested on animals. Never, because I like to do that myself at home. Make sure the control group is isolated. You don't know what they're doing in these labs. Very loose guidelines. This reminds me. I can totally tell. I know I'm weird. I'm a weird dude.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I used to always carry a man purse, a merce. You ever carry one of those?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
A merce. I loved it. I loved that merce. But I was losing it. I'd lose it everywhere. I was always leaving my merce around. You know, I kept losing my merce. So I just started carrying everything on my person, my pants. I only lost my pants a couple of times. So that's really working out.
Oh, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Good night.
Now listen to the clapping. That shows that these people were actually pretty kind to you. And there you go. You had a beard. You looked like you had a Jufro. You looked like pretty much a dude that would probably be named Ari. I don't know why. She went by the name Barney. And I'm like, nah, you look like an Ari. Like, you know, there's just certain people, kind of like when Kramer said, but she really looks like a Lily. Like, yeah, some people look like, you know, a certain name. And so, yeah, comedian Karen over there tried to use, maybe that was her material before, but like, what was the point of your comedy? What was your message? I didn't see anything. I didn't hear any message. So your message is I lose things. You're not really drawing a crowd with that kind of complaint, bro. So I thought at least she didn't go after just shooting on women to see if that would work, because it doesn't. If you tried pulling that Andrew Dice Clay type of routine in today's climate, nobody would fucking laugh. And I don't know why they laughed back in the early 90s. I really don't. So this is a another example of how comedy is completely subjective. It all relies on the individual. It relies on how you relay the joke. So what I wanted to see was how maybe if she had tried her actual material, maybe she's not a comedian at all, but all she was doing was virtue signaling. So what would have been interesting is if she tried using her own material as a man to see if we would have laughed. I mean, it looked like she wasn't even trying. Again, just like in that episode of Velma, like as if everyone's just going to start laughing because you're a dude. No, you're not even an attractive dude. Like, trust me, no one gives a fuck. And if anything, they're actually meaner to you because you're a dude. So it's like, hey, if you're gonna come up on stage, at least write some shit down. So again, this virtue signaling, it's gotta stop. But on the other side of it, we have even worse shit to worry about when it comes to the red side, because I mean, for one, your hats are all red. Okay, that is the number one sign of a communist. We would literally call you Reds. So what color is your hat? Red. Makes sense. And it is just absolutely ridiculous. So Trump continues his, Hitlerian crusade, going from town to town, spreading hate, division, and most of all, fear. Now, most of us are to the everyday idiot with a red hat actually thinks it's cool, but it's funny how they choose that color red, knowing what it means. Just like how they have that stupid ass T-shirt that says "Never Surrender," knowing he is literally surrendering. And for some reason, these people continue to use January 6th as the hill they want to die on, or the election of 2020. You guys really need to move on with your lives. You keep on saying all of this shit, and yet all you do is rely on the past. So when someone asks, hey, was the fucking election rigged? All you have to say is no. And then people are like, okay, you are a easy person to talk to. But when you dance around the subject and you refuse to answer it, it shows you cannot move on. You cannot go forward in life. And that is the entire point of government, is moving the country forward. And again, when you guys used to be the party of small government, you didn't want the government up your ass all the time. And now your plan is just to dismantle every institution. So when you think that they're going after deep CRT and bullshit like that, you know damn well that your kid's not learning CRT in kindergarten. And so it's just a fucking political point, and we point this out all the time. So what's even more terrifying is if you remember that goddamn shaman that broke into the Capitol, he is actually now out of prison and running for office. Now, if I can't get a job at like Target for being a fucking felon, why is it okay to run for Congress or any other actual important job? So this moron thinks he's going to win. I think he's running in Arizona. So let's go ahead and hear the great shaman speak, because yeah, dude's a fucking moron.
Is running for Congress, the guy who again was charged with obstruction here for proceedings, and he wants to run to now represent constituents. How do you respond to critics when they say that?
Well, you cannot believe anything anymore in the Mockingbird media, and the fact of the matter is, if people actually got a chance to hear
In
what
which
it
he
is that I'm
says
running
on
on, I think
mainstream
everybody,
media.
Republican and Democrat voters, would agree. Because what I'm running on is single bill voting law. What I'm running on is an amendment for term limits for Congress members and staff. What I'm running on is a criminalizing of lobbying and a seven-figure fines, expulsion, prosecution for insider trading. And these are part of the systemic issues that I would like to fix as a representative of the American people, of the people.
Okay, I'm done listening to you. The saddest part about this is his ideas are not bad. Um, I am 100% for term limits. I don't believe anyone should have any job for the rest of their lives. That makes no sense. You should always be, you know, fireable. You should always have some form of being expendable, because no matter what, if you can't do the job, we will find someone that will. Now, the idea of no term limit, being a judge for the rest of your lives, legalizing lobbyists, nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. But did you notice he didn't mention the Electoral College? Maybe it's because that was the last remnants of slavery, and he wants to keep that alive. But um, again, the whole single bill voting. Okay, whatever. So I'm just trying to say that he's not having terrible ideas, but again, uh, when they ask him, "What about the whole shaman thing? You don't think that's gonna come back to kick you in the ass?" His his answer was pretty idiotic, and it was just, "No, it just shows that I will bear all." Yeah, we're trying to cast a person for Congress, not the full Monty. But thanks for showing up. I think I'm pretty sure there's a gay bar that way. You can go bear all in, and there's also there's probably a church somewhere. Just tell them you're 12. Or you can go to Matt Gates' house and just wear a wig and say you're 14. So it seems like comedy relies on the unintentional now, rather than what it used to be, which was there used to be a really good show. I believe it's still on. There's a TV show that was called Funny is Funny, and it was a classic show on Telemundo. So speaking of Spanish-speaking television, we have Donald Trump actually trying to go to talk to people of Telemundo. Of course, he doesn't go there because he'll probably get fucking kidnapped and fucking get his head chopped off for real. Not like that Kathy Griffith shit. If you step foot in places like Guadalajara or, anything with a J that he cannot pronounce. The Tijuana, Tijuana, but it's straight up fucking hilarious. So let's take a look at this. It was on Jimmy Kimmel, so I'm gonna have to use his footage, but yeah, definitely worth watching. Just to see this unintentional humor, and yet it's pretty frightening.
And is instead going with the our accountants did it defense. I'm not.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me preface this. This is Donald Trump Jr. in the courthouse, literally throwing his accountants under the bus. But one, I want you to look at his strange T-Rex arms and the way that he flaps about like he's trying to fly eventually, and the fact that he thinks that when you sign a piece of paper that says this is what it's worth, the accountant is not supposed to be double checking your work when you signed off on it. They do the accounting from what numbers you have fucking given. Now, when you tell them to inflate numbers, now they're accounting with bogus numbers. Okay? Okay, let's move on and listen to your dumb T-Rex ass.
Supposed to rely on a big five accounting firm, like one of the biggest accounting firms in the world. I can pay them millions of dollars. I rely on them to do accounting, but I'm supposed to know more than them.
No.
By this logic, insurance companies are going to start suing patients for listening to their doctors. Right? Do you understand? Like, am I supposed to know more? Oh, Don Jr. doesn't know anything about it. I'm not an accountant. I'm a business guy.
First of all, a business guy is usually familiar with accounting processes. That's kind of like the first thing about a business guy is understanding how business and economics work, you know. And didn't you go to Morton for accounting in college? Didn't you take a full fucking course in college to know basic math? And again, when you inflate the numbers and you have bullshit numbers, and then the accountants work on bullshit numbers, how is it their fault when you are the one giving them bogus shit? They only work with what they got.
I'm a business guy.
I'm a business guy. And seriously, what is with the T-Rex arms? What is with the T-Rex arms? For one, Donald Trump, again, this is what comedy is now. Donald Trump Jr. is so goddamn funny because he doesn't know it. For one, he did that weird picture where he was on a tree stump and it showed he doesn't even know how to sit down properly. So it's like, it's one thing you don't know how to sit on a tree stump properly. It's another thing that you dress up like you're doing some weird Christmas album. I mean, he wore like blue jeans and a red and green and white flannel. It straight up looked like a Christmas thing. So after that, you watch him walk. He doesn't know how to walk. They all perch their chest out like this, but their heads go back. And it's just some of the weirdest shit I have ever seen. Have you ever seen a picture of them just standing together? Just Google Trump family and just look at how they stand. there is a stick shoved so far up their ass that they literally can't balance their back right anymore. Or it could be the fact that they have no spine. That also will fuck up your the shape of your back when you actually have absolutely no spine. And again, this is him, his chinless, disgusting fucking face. And I meant you know what, both of them. And so he did another one about Mike Lindell, and that was pretty funny because Mike Lindell's a goddamn idiot. But what was most important to me was the fact that Donald Trump went off to the Spanish stations. I believe he went to Telemundo to go do an interview. These are the very same people that Donald Trump has called rapists, criminals, murderers, diseased, and strikes out that bullshit replacement theory. And of course, just wants everyone to have that in the back of their mind.
Mexicans are bad.
And since he's an idiot, he doesn't know that, Puerto Ricans are not Mexican, Colombians, that. So let's watch him win the only award that he has ever been deserving of.
To that Univision interview of Donald Trump. Mr. Trump, first question. Stormy Daniels say you have a chalupa that is very small. ¿Es verdad?
I do.
Me too. It's okay. Okay. Next question.
It's okay.
What would happen if you stopped eating at McDonald's?
They would be out of business. They'd be out.
Because you eat so much.
I do.
Me too. What about Melania? How would you describe your marriage?
It's a hoax.
Yeah, that seems right.
That seems right.
I have to say, you look very orange today, sir. Some people say you look like an Oompa Loompa. What do you think of the Oompa Loompas?
They're energetic people. They have more energy. They're very smart. They're incredible people. They're passionate people. It's always tough to generalize about people, but you can. Some people say, oh, that's not good. It's not politically correct.
You're probably right. It is time to stop being so PC about Oompa Loompas. Great point, sir. Oh, I have another question for you. Can you tell me who's this?
That's Silence of the Lamb. That's Hannibal Lecter.
Do you know him?
He's a friend of mine. He's a tremendous man. He's been very loyal to me. I've been very loyal to him.
Next question. Who are these guys?
These are people that are very, very disturbed, very, very mentally ill.
Yes, they seem very bad and very ugly too. Anyway, thank you for inviting me to your very weird house.
Very weird house.
I have a surprise. It is my honor to announce you have been named Mexico's 2023 Pendejo of the Year. You look great, sir. Like a real pendejo.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. That was my exclusivo interview with El Pendejo número uno, Donald Trump. Back to you in the studio, Tony.
I love that he always calls him Tony. We're still not sure who Tony is, but it's awesome. Yeah. So this is what I'm talking about. This is where comedy is lying now. The comedy lies within the politics and in the stupidity of the average people. And by the way, this is Silence of the Lambs, and it's a fucking awesome book. I highly recommend you read it. Even though you've seen the movie, trust me, check out the book. It's way cooler than the fucking movie at times. All right, it's a little bit more gory, and you actually get to learn more about Buffalo Bill, which is really cool. And so I highly recommend you read the books. So with all that said, it's fucking terrifying that we live in a world where we're achieving literally the impossible. They always said it's impossible to laugh and be afraid at the same time. Well, it looks like we managed to lift that bar because we are all in that situation right now. So, what the fuck happened to comedy? It got politicized. That's what the fuck happened to comedy. And so now the comedy relies on the stupidity of the people that actually run our fucked up comical world. That's a mouthful of sadness. All right, so after all that, hope you got something out of it. We'll see you tomorrow. That is my time. Love you guys. Please stay safe, stay free, stay away from that shit, and don't forget that if you even think about voting for this guy, he actually wants mass raids. I completely forgot to mention this. That means literally breaking into your house to look for immigrants. Now, when we did this shit in Iraq and Afghanistan and Pakistan, we've done this. And it was amazing how many wrong houses were broken into. And you can watch any documentary on the Persian Gulf War or the war in Afghanistan. And all it did was lead to 1 million dead Iraqis, which is just more than just pathetic. I mean, that's a million people. And America will not America, but the politicians will tell you the number is about 40,000. It's a million Iraqi people were killed. And we're going to see more of this. And this is plain, simple genocide. And do not think for a second that the state of Israel gives a flying fuck about you and your family. They laugh at us. Trust me, they do. And do your research and learn about it, because you cannot be on the side of hate. It will only breed more hate, more pain, and more death. And there's going to be so much more to come. And I really wish I wasn't fear mongering in any way, but we have to start preparing for this, because we are going to start seeing the comedy of life seriously start to turn tragic. All right. So that is where I want to leave you guys. All right. Love you guys. Stay free. Stay yourselves. Please be safe. And I'll see you on the other side. Most of all, please always remain to stay cheesy, my friends. Always, always stay cheesy.
Please note these are a form of social commentary and not in any way meant to put down the ideas and ideals of any political or gender identity. You are all fair game in the eyes of the wicked, and we see you.
The world is like a ride at an amusement park, and when you choose to go on it, you think it's real, because that's how powerful our minds are. And the ride goes up and down and round and round. It has thrills and chills, and it's very brightly colored, and it's very loud, and it's fun for a while. Some people have been on the ride for a long time, and they begin to question, is this real, or is this just a ride? And other people have remembered, and they come back to us, and they say, hey, don't worry, don't be afraid, ever, because this is just a ride.
Gentlemen, this is democracy manifest. Have a look at, see that chap over there? He'll take your hand off my penis!
The Deputy Secretary, the Deputy Secretary, Deputy Secretary.
This guy is fucking stupid!